Good afternoon and welcome to Mobile Realtor with Miami, Part 1, where we will be covering Homesnap. I'm Maggie Carriel, I'll be your trainer this afternoon, and with you in the chat you'll have Connie Nieto, who's also a trainer. She'll be there to answer your questions. In Part 1, we will be discussing Homesnap. In Part 2, which is going to be at 2:30, we will be discussing the mobile applications for Remine and RPR. Before I jump onto my cell phone to share with you my cell phone screen and the application for Homesnap, I would like to point out that we have recordings of our classes available on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/miamitrainers, it's one of the links that Connie shared with you already in the chat. You'll be able to view our YouTube channel. If you can subscribe, that would be wonderful. If you subscribe and click on the bell, it will turn the notifications on and you'll receive an email every time we load a new video to our channel. Our videos can also be viewed on miamirealtorslive.com, where you will find not just the tech classes offered by the trainers, but also additional trainings and presentations from guest speakers and guest instructors that have come through and have been scheduled by the education department. So you have a more expansive library here that includes more than just the technology classes. All right, so Homesnap. I have found that it is much easier, in my opinion, to activate your Homesnap account through your computer or laptop. If you try to do it on your cell phone, it's not that it's impossible, it's just a little more tedious and it's easier to maybe create the account incorrectly. So we can just visit homesnap.com/pro, and I'm going to go ahead and share this link with you in the chat. And what you would do is you would say that you are registering for a new account. All Miami members have access to Homesnap Pro. It's free from Miami. All you have to do is come in and activate it. So at the top right corner where it says register, I would go ahead and click. The reason that you have two options here, sign up and I'm a real estate agent, is because Homesnap does have a consumer facing side. In other words, there is a version of the application that can be used by consumers. And you can also invite your customers to download Homesnap and you can share information with them and they can share information with you through Homesnap. You are a real estate agent, so you would go ahead and select the option that says I'm a real estate agent. Okay, once you select this option, it will ask you to identify your MLS. Our MLS is listed as SEFL-MLS, which is Southeast Florida MLS, since our MLS covers the 5 counties in the southeast part of Florida. So you would select SEFL-MLS, and then you would search for your account either using your name, your email address, or your license number. I always recommend you use your license number. It's the easiest way to track down your account. You would just plug that in here, search for yourself, and then select your account to finalize the activation process. Now you will need to make sure that you write down the email that they have on file for you and the password that you create so that you can then use that information to log into the mobile app on your cell phone or on your tablet. Homesnap does work on both. All right, so now that we've activated the account, I am going to go ahead and switch over to my mobile device. Okay, and so on screen, you should be seeing my mobile device, and I do have Homesnap open already. Homesnap is available for download on the Apple App Store and on the Google Play Store. Downloading the app is free, and as I mentioned, you already have access to Homesnap Pro as a Miami member. Everything I am showing you in today's class is free for Miami members, so you do not have to pay anything for any of the features that I will be sharing with you today. All right, so now that we are in Homesnap, this is our starting point. This is our home screen of sorts. Every time you launch Homesnap, this is what you will see. So I just want to really quickly break down what's on this screen, and then we can move into your profile and your settings. Along the top, you'll notice that there is a search bar with a little magnifying glass. This is where I can tap and I can search using city, the address of a property, a school, and it will use that school's district or zone to search within that area. I can use a zip code or an MLS number. I can actually search in multiple cities and multiple zip codes as well. Also, when you tap into this search bar, you'll notice that you do have access to your MLS saved searches, meaning I can open the searches that I have saved on my Matrix account. So if I did something on Matrix and I wanted to go ahead and pull it up here on Homesnap, I absolutely could. You can also do the same thing with the listing carts. Carts are basically a location for you to save specific listings, and you can create multiple carts, and you can even create them for customers. We talk about this in the Matrix classes, so if you want a little refresher, I would definitely look at those recordings that we have. Beneath that, I have all of the searches that I've saved on Homesnap. So everything with a heart under saved searches are saved searches that are housed here in the application only. And then I have recently viewed, where I would see listings or properties that I have recently opened up. Okay, now next to that search bar, there is a camera. This is one of my favorite features in Homesnap. The camera allows you to take a picture of a property, and if it's on the MLS, it will pull the MLS details for you. And if it is not on the MLS, it will give you some basic information from the tax record, from the public record. So it's a really nice feature. You can just open up Homesnap, open up this camera feature, take a picture, and get more information. Beneath that, you have three kinds of searches: searches for sales, for rentals, or all homes. All homes basically lets you do a little bit of farming and prospecting directly from your mobile device. You have sort, where you would decide how you would like to organize your results by price, list date, etc. And you have your filters, where you would add the criteria for the search. Beneath that, you have a split screen where we have a map, and then the results would be listed below that. You do have access to both residential and commercial information on Homesnap, and Homesnap is nationwide, so you can actually use it in other locations, in other states, not just our MLS. So down here I have my results, and then at the very bottom I have 5 buttons. I have news. News is going to tell me what's going on in my markets, what's been recently listed, recently sold. It also shares articles and information. So under news, it's going to be driven by the zip codes that I have selected, and we'll be doing that shortly. Next to that, we have messages. Okay, so we had news. Let me show you what that looks like really quickly. I already have my markets identified. So we would see for sale, articles, right? Recently sold. Now, next to that, I have my messages. This is a chat that is built into Homesnap. I can communicate with agents. I can communicate with my customer. I can share listings with them. They can also send me listings that they have found. What's nice is that when you invite your customer to use Homesnap, through that invitation, they are tied to your account. You're the only agent they see. They would not be seeing the listing agent. And it allows them to search the MLS and search for information. Okay, at the bottom of the screen, if we move on from messages, homes is where we started. That's our search screen. That's where we usually start. Next to that, we have pro agents. There are, of course, upgrades in Homesnap like everything else. And one of those upgrades could be advertising your listing, or they have a new concierge mode to supply you with leads. They have ads to farm your zip codes. All of these will cost you extra. I would recommend that you do your research and then decide if that's something you want to go ahead and use. Then you can talk to Homesnap directly. But this is where you could get a little more information about it here under the Pro Agents option. And then all the way to the right, we have Me, which is where your profile is located. Okay, so I'm actually going to start going through how to edit your profile and update your settings here. So by tapping on Me, we're looking at what has been done to my profile so far. If you're just starting on Homesnap, you won't have your picture and certain details. So let's make sure that we know how to edit that. In the top left corner, we have a symbol of a gear. We're going to go ahead and tap into that. And you'll notice that once you tap into that, you can update your information, update your zip codes, which is what drives the information that you see under news. You can also update your payment methods if you've decided to pay for any of those additional features that Homesnap has. But again, everything I'm showing you today is included. You can also set up your notifications for the application. Do you want to receive notifications with sounds? Do you want to share pictures anonymously? privacy settings, and then some connectivity settings as well. But we're going to go ahead and update our information. So very first option, update my info. And this is where I can upload my picture. I cannot edit my name, last name, or brokerage. That is coming from the MLS. So if you notice, it's grayed out because I can't edit. But I can edit my email and phone number, and I can also update my password. When I'm done, I'm going to tap on update in the top right corner. Okay, once we've updated that, we can go back to where we were by tapping on back in the top left corner. You can also update your zip codes. Again, these zip codes will then drive the information that you see when you go into news. You also receive emails as well. We're going to tap on update my zip codes. You can have 3 zip codes maximum listed here. Okay, so I have listed 2. If I wanted to add in my third and final one, I would go ahead, supply that zip code, tap on add, and it's going to add it to the list. And then I'll start to see updates regarding what's going on in 33166 under news. If you wanted to delete any of these zip codes, you're just going to tap on that red circle that you see on the left-hand side, and then you will confirm that you want to delete by tapping on delete on the right-hand side. Okay, and that's it. Really simple. If we go back to our main options, top left, we can also, like I mentioned, update methods. Now your notifications and sounds, all of that listed under options is up to you. That's personal preference. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on back again and go back to the main screen. So one of the ways you can update your photo is by going into those settings, but also directly from this screen, you can tap on the circle. If you don't have a picture loaded, you should see your initials. I'm going to tap on that circle, and you'll notice that now it asks if I want to go to the camera to take a picture right now, if I want to select from my library, which is my camera roll, or if I want to open up the image to view it. There's also an image in the background. So behind my picture, there's an image. It's like a little cover photo. If I tap on that picture, I can select from these stock images that they've loaded. I cannot upload my own images, but I can select from here. So I'm going to go ahead and select one. And if you'll notice, it kind of looks like it didn't change. To update, you would just drag from top to bottom, let go, and that cover photo will change. Okay, so again, if I tap on that photo, I can select from these stock images, and then I can make sure that it's saved, my decision, my choice, my new photo by dragging from top to bottom, letting go, and that'll refresh. So we've updated some of our basic information. We've updated our picture and our cover photo. Here's the information for my brokerage, which in this case is the association. And then I have the option to invite customers to download Homesnap. And when they download it through this invitation, their account is tied to me. That's what's going to make it so that they only see my information. Under clients and contacts, I'm going to see anybody who has accepted that invitation and downloaded the application already. So to invite, I would tap on invite. And because they've recently integrated some of the features from Matrix, or they've kind of created like a bridge between Matrix and Homesnap, when you go to invite someone, you can invite them by supplying their email address or phone number. You can share your profile link. You can invite MLS contacts, which means it will take you to the contacts that you have saved on Matrix, and you can send them the invitation using whatever email or phone number you saved for them on Matrix. And then what I have listed beneath that are my contacts from my cell phone, so that if they are saved on my cell phone, I can just tap on the contacts and invite them. But again, it's really nice that you have a connection here to your Matrix contacts. Now, once you've invited them, if you go into clients and contacts, this is where you would see who has accepted the invitation, who is one of your clients. So those are some clients. You can also see who you've invited but hasn't downloaded it or registered, and you can resend it. So this is where you would manage who you have invited and who has already accepted the invitation. Next to that, we have more. If I tap on more, I can change my profile image and my wallpaper here. Okay, so this is another place to come change it. You also have access to a mortgage calculator, an affordability calculator, and a net sheet calculator. You can view the snaps. Those are the pictures that you've taken using that camera in the top right corner. You can also view your clients and you can share your profile. Let me go back. Beneath that, we have shortcuts to your public profile. That is what customers and consumers will see. Your agent only profile is what other agents will see. So they do have two versions of what information is displayed. Who's viewed my profile is available for an upgrade if you want to see who's been tapping on your profile. Recently viewed would be properties or listings that I've recently viewed. My listings, self-explanatory, those would be my listings. My favorites would be properties that I saved to view later. My saved searches, self-explanatory, those are the searches that I have saved here in Homesnap. My office information and my MLS information. Okay, so now that we've gone through the profile and some of those basic settings, I'm going to go back to the search. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on homes and come back to the search. All right, so in homes, when I'm searching, let's say I wanted to pull up a specific property. I can pull up a property using the address. I can pull up a property using an MLS number. I'm going to go ahead and use an address. Okay. When I tap in the address, there it is under homes. I'm going to tap on it again, and it's going to take me to that property on the map. So I'm in Miami, but I could search up a property or listing in Weston if I wanted to. So although this uses GPS for a lot of things, you aren't limited to what you can search based on just your GPS. So here is the property. It sold back in June. If I wanted to go ahead and view additional pictures, I can actually swipe through and see those pictures. If I wanted to see additional details for the property, I can go ahead and tap on that rectangle or that picture, and it's going to open up those additional property details. Okay, now along the top, because this was listed in the MLS recently, I do still have access to those pictures. So up at the top, it says photos. They're also scrolling through right now. Pro Plus, we don't have access to that. This is a flashback that would show us old MLS listing pictures, but we can do that on Matrix later. So if you really wanted to see those pictures, you could just look it up on Matrix after you're done with Homesnap. Commute time we'll be discussing when we get to the map features. Street View is Google Street View. If I tap, that's going to let me look around the property. And next to Street View, we have Map. If I tap on Map, it's going to show me the property on the map. Okay, so it's kind of highlighted the little parcel. I can also from here switch to satellite view if I wanted. Okay. From this map option, I can do an augmented reality walk, which allows me to walk through the property. You do have to be there, so this does rely on GPS. And then I can also get driving directions. All right, I'm going to go back to the screen. So I see here that it's sold for $490. If it is not a listing or it has not been listed recently, I would see the estimated value. So I would see an AVM for the property. So here's the address, bed, bath, year built. And then under agent actions, I have sell speed, send a rapid CMA, or a net sheet calculator. Sell speed is something relatively new. You can use this tool to determine what the home will sell for. So you can use this to justify your list price. This is also really great if you have a seller who is not budging on that list price and it is not matching what you have found after doing your CMA or comparative market analysis. You can go and tell them, listen, you want to list at $750. Let me show you what would happen if we list at $750. Right? And it says here that it would take quite a while for it to sell. But if I were to list it at, I did my CMA and I find that it should be listed at $490, obviously all the stats kind of go up. Okay, so you can use this to justify your list price. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go back. I also have a rapid CMA. It is rapid because you can study the comparables, but you cannot edit the criteria. The criteria is already set by Homesnap. So all you can do is select from the comparables that they find for you. And you can also not edit the pages, meaning it will include all of the pages that Homesnap has designed for the Rapid CMA, which means that it can make it a rather lengthy report. But it is a very nice report, especially given that it's being created through a mobile app. So if I tap on Send a Rapid CMA, I'm going to verify those home details. Okay, and then I'm going to tap on Next, which is top right or at the very bottom of the screen. Here are the active listings that are nearby. And I can select up to 3 active listings. So what I would do is, if I wanted to review the details of a property, I can actually tap on it and review it and decide if it is a valid comparable or not. And if it is, I'm just going to tap on that little circle that is located on the left-hand side of each listing. Okay. So again, we're going to select maximum 3. I'm just going to tap on a few. I'm just going to tap on 2. Next, they're going to pull up the recent sales, and they are also going to pull up those pending sales. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap 3 of those. Now, once you're done selecting those active listings and those closed sales, you tap on Next. You can add in an email address and send it to someone, or you can just tap on Create Your Rapid CMA at the bottom, or it's also at the top right. You will get a copy of this emailed to you. I'm going to go ahead and tap on Create Your Rapid CMA so that I can show it to you right now. So you saw how quickly I was able to go through this. Obviously, you should be opening up those listings and those properties and looking at all the details and selecting your comparables. You need to do your due diligence. But basically, you're given the information and then you're selecting the best from those comparables. It generated a 47-page report, and I did all of this from my iPhone. Okay, so there's my information. There's the subject property with all of the details, all of the pictures. And then I have the map location of the comparables that I selected. I have the comparables in column format. And then I have at least 1 page dedicated to each comparable. It's usually multiple pages, which is part of what makes this report so lengthy. Okay, so I have each of the comparables, all of the details and pictures if available. And then after the comparables, I'm just trying to get past the comparables. Okay, we have our information at the bottom, and we also have a suggested price range with the low, median, and average as well. Okay, now if I tap on done, it's going to go ahead and close it. So I'm just going to say done. Now, if I wanted to share this in a message, send in a message, would send it in the chat here in Homesnap. At the bottom of the screen, I also have that little chat bubble. It's the same thing. It would go through the chat. But if I were to tap on this square with an arrow, which is in the bottom right corner, this allows me to send it through text message on my cell phone, email, or WhatsApp. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it. Now, as I'm scrolling through the property, you'll notice that at the bottom, you get this floating bar. It gives you the option to share this property or listing through the chat here in Homesnap. You can save the property and look at it later by tapping on the star. The star is also in the top right corner. Or if you wanted to share this specific listing, you would go ahead and tap on that square with the arrow pointing upwards. Now, if I keep going, I have the history for the property. I can ask for a notification for the price changes. Here are the agents that were related with this listing and this sale. Here are all of the listing details. Okay, listing media is the same things or the same actions and options we saw at the top. So we have the pictures, flashback, commute, street view, map, and you also have the virtual tour. You have school information. Commute time we'll be discussing when we get to the map, property lines, and then you have similar listings at the bottom. That comes in handy when someone tells you, I really liked this property, but I waited and it sold. Is there anything that's maybe similar? You can pull up the property, scroll all the way to the bottom and find similar listings. I'm going to go ahead and go back. So that's what I would do if I was searching up one specific property and I wanted to study it a little bit further. I would just use the address or the MLS number and pull up the property on Homesnap. But you can use it to search. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say I have someone who is searching in Plantation. I'm going to go ahead and tap in Plantation. Forgot a letter there. Okay, Plantation. I'm going to tap on Plantation, Florida, and it is going to draw out the boundaries around that city. Same with the zip code. If I wanted to also search in Sunrise, which is right above Plantation, it's north of Plantation, I'm going to tap on that search bar again at the top, and I'm going to enter Sunrise and select Sunrise from the list. And now you'll notice that it added another shape. So it is going to apply my criteria to these shapes for Plantation and Sunrise. Now, to add in filters along the top, remember that it says sort, which is how you would have your results sorted or organized. Those results are going to be found on the map, obviously, and then they can also be found beneath the map in the split screen. But to add your criteria, you would go ahead and tap on filter. So if I go into filter, I have status, price reductions only, bed, bath, property type, listing type, date, square footage, lot size, year built, stories. As you can see, they have quite a few. At the bottom of the screen, second to last, they have additional filters. If I tap on additional filters, I can also include outdoor space, fireplace, hardwood floors, in-law suite, accessible homes, which are ADA compliant, and senior community, which is HOPA. So let's say my customer is looking for townhouse. I'm going to go ahead and say status for sale. Okay, and I am going to say price. They're looking for a townhouse that is less than $250,000. Price reductions only is if you only want to see listings that have had their prices reduced. Beds, if I tap on that, you can create a range, a minimum or a maximum. So let's say I create a maximum of 2 beds and 2 bathrooms. As you add in the filters, you'll notice that each of the filters that is included in the search has like a blue dot or circle. So at a glance, it's really easy for me to see what criteria I added to the search. Property type, I'm going to go ahead and say townhouse. Okay, you can also add in listing type. Do we want it to be resale, new construction? You can remove as well. We have date, that would be the date listed, square footage, lot size, etc. School ratings, so have it be near schools that are of a certain rating, pool, waterfront, etc. Now for sorting at the bottom, I always like to see things sorted by price, low to high, and then I tap on apply, and you'll notice that quite a few results were removed from my map and I was left with a handful of results. Now on the map itself, at the top, you have remove outline, which will delete the shapes that are currently on the map. You have save search to save the search. Remember that when you save a search, you are saving the criteria, and then every time you open it, it will run the search again, basically, and give you the most recent or the current results. On the map on the right-hand side, you have commute. Commute can be used for those who are interested in looking for listings or properties that are close to their job or maybe their children's schools. Really, it just depends on what point of interest is important to them. It will draw a polygon on the map and it will give us the results for that. So I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. We also have the option to draw on the map. You can use your finger, you can use your Apple Pencil or whatever stylus you might be using, but it allows you to draw on the map. Now in Homesnap, you can only have one shape at a time. So if I were to draw on the map, it would eliminate the shapes that are included for the cities and it would focus on just what I'm drawing. Near me will take the map right back to where I am in this moment. So right now I'm searching in Sunrise in Plantation, but I am actually physically in Miami. If I tap on near me, the map would go back to where I am in Miami. Layers is how we can add in schools. So if I tap on layers, I tap on schools, it's going to go ahead and add in schools to the map. If I tap on layers and I tap on satellite, it's going to change to satellite view. And then if I wanted to go back to, there are the schools, by the way, it just took a second to populate. And when you tap on the schools, you can actually see the name of the school and you can look for properties within that school district. But if I wanted to go back to that split screen that we had originally at the very bottom of these buttons on the right-hand side, it says list. I tap on list and I go back to my split screen where I see information at the top and then I see the listings below. I'm going to go ahead and just come back out a little bit so that I can see everything. Now, if I wanted to view information for any of these listings, I could tap on these pin drops and it'll populate that little rectangle. Unfortunately, right now, let's say I wanted to share these listings with my customer. Unfortunately, you can only share them one at a time. You are unable to send listings in bulk. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Right now, I have, approximately 3, 4, 5, 6, so about 6 listings, maybe 7. It's still loading, but I can't just take these and send them all to my customer. I have to send them one at a time. If I wanted to save any of these listings to look at them later, I could tap on the star. So remember, you have the star in a few different places. If I tap on the pin, okay, I have a star in the top right corner of that pop-up. If I tap on the picture and I open the details, I have the star in the top right corner. And also when you start to scroll through the details, you have the star at the bottom right. So you have a few different places where you can go to save a specific listing. And when you save it, it's just for you. It's not being sent to anyone. It's just a way for you to create a shortcut to come back to this. So I'm going to go ahead and save it to show you where you would go access this later. Now, if I wanted to save this search, I'm going to go ahead and tap on Save Search. And I would name my search. So let's say I wanted to name it Townhouses in Plantation and Sunrise. Okay. Beneath the option to name your search, you have alerts. And the alerts are just for you as the agent. If I tap on my name, I can decide whether or not I would like to receive push notifications, which are those notifications that will come through on your mobile device on the screen or in your control center. You can also opt into receiving emails either immediately or daily. Immediately means that as soon as the listing comes in that falls within these parameters, as soon as it comes in and it's listed, you get an email. Daily is just a summary on a daily basis of the listings that apply for this search. And then I would go ahead and save the settings. If you don't want to receive notifications, you just want to save the search, you would just deactivate all of these options. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save my search. So I saved a specific property, a specific listing, and I also saved a search. Where would I access this information later? If I tap on me in the bottom right corner of the screen, okay, if I go to my favorites, which is toward the bottom of the screen, those would be the listings that I have favorited, that I have saved by tapping on the star. And then from here, I can tap on any of them and see more information. If you no longer want to keep it saved, you would tap on that star again. Okay, and then I'm just going to do this to a few. You would drag down from top to bottom, it would refresh, and those properties or listings have been removed from your favorites. If I go back, my saved searches are here as well, so I can tap on my saved searches. And that search that I just saved with you today is at the very top of the screen. I can go ahead and swipe from right to left to delete. I can also manage or edit the search by tapping on the gear. And then I can edit the name, and I can also edit the alerts for it as well. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my search screen by tapping on Homes. You also have your saved searches if you tap on the search bar that's at the top of the screen. Remember that your saved searches are down here where the hearts are, and there's the search that I just saved with all of you, townhouses in Plantation and Sunrise. All right, so again, if I wanted to share a listing, I would have to do so one at a time. I would tap on the listing, and when you start to scroll through the information, I can either send them the listing through the chat here in Homesnap, or I can send it to them via text message, WhatsApp, or email using this square with the arrow that's pointing upward. I'm going to go back. Let's say that I was looking for rentals. Okay, so we did a search. This was an example of a search for sales. Let's do a search for rentals. I'm going to go ahead and just clear everything out. So I'm going to reset all of my filters. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and have the map go back to my general location. And let's say I was looking for rentals. I'm going to go ahead and tap on for rent at the top of the screen, right up here. Let's say I'm looking for rentals in Brickell. When I tap on that search bar at the top of the screen, if I type in Brickell, although it's not a city, it does recognize the neighborhood, which is really nice. So I can tap on Brickell. And then I can go ahead and add in my filters. So I can say filter. I can say price. Let's say they're looking for, I'm going to make it really specific so that I don't get too many results. If not, my map is covered. I'm going to say 1,800 to 2,000 a month for rentals in Brickell. And let's say we're looking for a 1-1. So beds, we're going to say 1 to 1. Bathrooms, we're going to say 1 to 1. Property type, we're going to say we are looking for a condo or let's just leave condo, yeah. And then we go back to the filters. Square footage, lot size, stories. You can even do pet friendly for rentals, which is toward the bottom of the screen. And you also have additional filters here as well. If I tap on apply, it's going to apply that criteria to the map. I still get quite a few listings. Now, I do want to show you the commute time and the drawing feature. So if right now I were to draw on the map, if I were to draw on the map, it would delete the area that's been marked off around Brickell. So it would delete that polygon. So if I tap on draw and I draw down here, you'll notice that the border that was surrounding Brickell gets deleted, and now it's focusing the criteria on that shape that I drew. Same thing happens with commute time. Commute time allows you to add up to 5 addresses. Most systems have something similar, but they only let you add in 1 address at a time. Here, you're allowed to add in 5. So if you have, I'm going to go ahead and clear them out. If you have, let's say for some friends that are renting a place together, a couple, what have you, you can go ahead and add in their addresses for their jobs and find them a location that's convenient for both of them. So for example, one of them works at 245 Alcazar. There it is. I tap on it. They want to get to work in 20 minutes. Commute type is car. Commute time is 20 minutes. The other one works at, let's say, in Miami Springs, and they're okay with getting to work in 30 minutes. Okay, so there it is. Commute type is car. Commute time, 30 minutes. Lovely. We can keep on adding addresses. The kids' schools, points of interest, things that are important to them, what have you. We add in the addresses. We tap on search at the top right, and it's going to draw a polygon for us on the map. It will apply the filters to that polygon, and anything that is found in this shape means that they can each get to their jobs or whatever addresses you listed, given the commute time that you also selected. So again, commute time is just going to take into consideration the time that you supplied and the addresses that you provided. What's nice is that when you do have addresses saved in commute time, when you're looking at a listing, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this one up. When you're looking at a listing, they do have a section in here that will tell you how long it'll take them to get to the location. So here's a listing, $1,800. It's a 1.5, right? And then as I scroll down, I have all the details. Here's commute time. So it's a little bit farther. It's a minute farther for one person, which is why it's in red, but it lets me know that the one that works in Coral Gables can get there in about 21 minutes. And the one that works in Miami Springs can get there in about 13 minutes from this location. Okay, so that's pretty convenient. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just clear this out. So now we have set up our profile, we have edited our settings, we did a search for sales, we know how to save a property, we know how to save a search, we know where to access that information. We did a search for rentals and I used the drawing features and the commute time on the map, which allows you to have Homesnap draw polygons for you. Let's talk about all homes. I'm gonna go ahead and tap on all homes. This is where you would, let me go ahead and clear out my commute time. This is where you would go ahead and you would basically farm and prospect from your mobile device. Meaning, maybe I went to a showing or maybe I had an open house and I'm done and I want to go ahead and I want to see what's going on in that area because maybe I'm going to go knock on some doors. Maybe I want to go leave my business card in the mailbox. Maybe I have some marketing materials and I want to drop those off at their front door. I can farm and prospect from the palm of my hand using Homesnap. So let me show you what I would do. All right, so what I will show you is that here, instead of using filters, you're using something, it's still listed under filters, but they like to call them heat maps. So in the top right corner, if I tap on filters, filter, you'll notice that the filters look very different. These are what they call heat maps that I can apply to where I currently am, and I can go ahead and I can use these to find potential sellers, prospective new customers. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Let me show you what happens. As I zoom in, you see how I have all of these blue dots on the map. Let me give it a second. Those are each parcels. Those are each a property. These different colored pins are statuses, MLS statuses. So green is active, orange is pending, red is a closed sale. But all those other properties that don't have an MLS pin are off the market. So for example, if I were to tap on one, you see how it says off market in the top left corner? Those are viable for me to farm and prospect. So let me show you an example. So what I would do is, let's say you have to decide what you would like to farm. Okay, but if I tap on filter, let me show you the kind of filters that are available. Likelihood to list. Likelihood to list is the likelihood that a property will list. They're using an algorithm, things like the age of the owners, how long they've been there, their mortgage, how likely are they to list to sell their property based on certain key factors. MLS status, if I want to make sure that I'm focusing on those off-market listings, because if they're already on the MLS, they're already listed. That's not a viable option for me if I'm farming and prospecting. Distressed is Pro Plus, so we don't have access to it. We're going to move on to the next. Last list date would be the last time that the property was listed. Ownership time, the time or the years that the owners have been there. Ownership type is also a Pro Plus feature. We do not have that. Home equity, and that's estimated home equity. Cash buyers only. Loan balance is also a Pro Plus feature, but we do have access to mortgage age and mortgage rate. Now, under more filters, you have price, property type, beds, baths, square footage, lot size, year built, and how you would like these sorted. So let's say I want to target a certain demographic. I want to target owners who have been at their property at least 10 years, but I also want to make sure that their mortgage is at least 10 years old, that they didn't just refi or do a refi 2 years ago, let's say. So I can combine filters here. I can say MLS status. I want to make sure that I am focusing just on off market. So I'm going to get rid of MLS listings. I'm going to get rid of recently sold. I'm going to leave the recently off market and all other homes. I'm going to go back. Ownership time. I'm going to put 10 to 20 plus, meaning owners who have been at the property or have owned the property 10 to 20 years plus, which is minimum 10 years. Then I also have mortgage age. So I would do the same thing there. I would say 10 to 20 plus. You also have a button for has no mortgage if you want to focus on that as well. So I said over 10 years and I said has no mortgage. You can also specify property type. So maybe I want to work with single family or townhouses or condos or commercial. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have everything added. Again, if you are including or the criteria is being included in your search, there is a blue circle or dot next to that field. We're ready. We're going to tap on apply. Now it is applying it to where I currently am. Okay, and if I don't see anything, the results would have a blue dot. If I don't see anything, remember that when you go farming, it's kind of like fishing. And if you don't get a nibble, you've got to put out different bait. So what I'm going to do is mortgage age. I know it's probably causing me issues, has no mortgage. There we go. So you see how before there were blue dots everywhere. Now the blue dots have been narrowed down, and these are the properties that comply with the criteria that I entered. So these are the properties where the owners have had the property at least 10 years, the mortgage is at least 10 years old, they're single family. If I tap on these properties, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. If I tap on any of these blue dots, they're all going to be off market because that's what I asked for. If I open the details for the property and I scroll down a little bit, let me wait for it to load. There is a section with the owner's information. Now they don't have this for every property, but they do have it for most. In this situation, I see the owner's name, I see the phone number, and I can send them a message or call them using those icons. If it were on the do not call list, I would see in red a label that says do not call. I also have their email addresses. They've been there 15.7 years. The property is owner occupied, the estimated net equity, the estimated loan balance, and the estimated monthly payment they're making to their mortgage. And all of these things are estimates because that information is confidential. But sometimes I will open a property and not find any ownership information. And that's just because Homesnap hasn't located that information yet. But they did for this person. So I can call them, I can send them an email because it's off market. This is available for me to farm and reach out and market to them. If I go back and I were to tap on another property, okay, and I open up the details for this one, again, you would just scroll down and you would look for owner. There it is. In this case, we have two mobile numbers, an email, and we have information for the two owners on the property. Okay, so I can go ahead and I can contact them using any of this information. If I go back, I tap on another one and I kind of move on down. Current ownership, here's an example of what I was talking about. In this situation, we have the owner's name, but we don't have their information. So I don't have emails or phone numbers. It'll happen sometimes. Homesnap has done a really good job of gathering information, but if they couldn't for that property, you'll just see the owner's name. Here's another property. Here I have just an email, no phone number. And I would just keep repeating this process, and I would then contact or communicate with these owners. Okay. Now, again, if for whatever reason they're on the do not call list, you'll know it'll say do not call. And you can always verify by going to donotcall.gov. Again, I can save these searches as well. So if I tap on save search at the top of the map, I can go ahead and I can name the search and I can set up alerts. This is a great place to set up alerts for your saved searches because basically you just created a prospecting situation in one of your farming areas. And then you can have it set up so that if anything new comes up that falls within those parameters, you'll get a notification so that you can keep up with your farming. All right, there is one last thing I want to show you that I want to make sure I don't forget, and there is a safety feature built into Homesnap. So it does rely on GPS. Make sure that you are near the property. Once you get to the property, you can pull it up on the MLS portion of this. So right now I'm back in the sales. Let's say I have it showing at this property. I'm going to go take a customer and I'm going by myself. You should always have that customer's information. You should be sharing your location. You should tell your office and your family where you will be, at what time, how long you expect to be there, and who you will be there with. So that if for whatever reason something were to occur, they have all of the important details. Now there is a safety timer built in. So let's say I get to this property, I open it up on the app, I'm going to show this property to a customer. I'm going to go ahead and start the safety timer. When you tap on start a safety timer, it's going to ask you how long you expect to be there, and it is going to ask you to pick your emergency contacts. You can have multiple. You're going to tap on add and add them in from your phone's information. When you are done setting this up, you will tap on start a safety timer, which is at the bottom of the screen, and it will start a countdown. If that countdown reaches 0 and you have not stopped the timer, your emergency contacts will receive a text message letting them know that you could potentially be in danger. You also from here obviously see stop timer. You add time if you're taking a little bit longer, and if something is going sideways, you can hit the distress alert and send out that text message immediately. So this is a safety timer. It's a safety feature built into Homesnap. You can't set this up ahead of time. So I can't say start a safety timer tomorrow at 10 a.m. When I'm at 123 Cherry Lane. I do have to get to the property. Once I get to the property, I can start the safety timer. And from the property's details, I would be able to manage my safety timer. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Okay, there we go. Also, I just want to point out this one is on showing time. You can schedule showings through Homesnap for showing time. And remember, that depends on the listing agent and whether or not they've set up their listing on showing time. All right, and now we have officially reached the end of Homesnap. Well, if you don't have any questions, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being Miami members.